Cage Minds, Micah Frankel at the Jackson Wink Academy next to Steve Mean Machine Garcia. Sir, thank you for the time.
Thanks for having me, brother. Like, you know, anytime you call, I'm here.
I appreciate that so much. Excited to see you back in the octagon October 29th. Chase Hooper, it's a return to 145. So before we get there, gotta ask about the last fight, just about the camp, how you look back on everything going to Singapore. Before we get to how the fight played out, how do you look back on all of the time that led up to it?
It was just a long time. I was originally supposed to fight Damir Hatzovic. That didn't end up happening due to visa issues or whatever was going on. So that was 3 months of training on top of another couple of months training. I was ready to fight, way before the actual fight happened in Singapore. Singapore was an experience in itself. Definitely an experience I think most people would love to have. And I'll tell you what, it's a beautiful place. We didn't get the results we expected and that we wanted. But a lot of things kind of happened during the camp that is now making us move to the 145 division. And I feel very confident that we're going to do well there.
So fight week, I think you got some runs in out there in Singapore. Any holy shit, I can't believe I'm here moments?
It was just beautiful. Like everywhere that you looked, it was just beautiful. I mean, it sucks because the time change is really different. So like I was running at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, trying to adjust and make sure that like I could, acclimate to everything. And in the middle of, doing that, I'm running at night and early in the morning, I should say. And, I'm running around the bay. I see these beautiful buildings. It's an experience and something that like I could take, with me forever. It's something I kind of recommend at least once if you can afford it. It's a very expensive place, but it's worth it.
5 months of training camp, then you don't get the desired results. On that night, did it all build up? Do you think it felt like it all compounded into the long camp and everything wearing on you? Or as many alluded to, do you feel like aggression just played against you that night?
Yeah, I think some frustration happened. Obviously, like frustration, before the fight, like having to get a new opponent change happens, you just adjust. And then on top of that, like having to literally travel across the whole world, change, the time change, environment, everything. UFC did a great job, making the adjustments and everything like that. And it just wears a lot on you. Then obviously after the fight, I was very frustrated, very upset. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, like you have two options. You can learn from it or you can let it just ruin you. And for me, like I'd rather just move on and just learn from it. That's what I want to do, and move on to the next fight and just kill it.
Returning down to the featherweight division, you said that even things during the camp led to you moving back down. How does the body feel, and what led to the change?
Well, when I was down there, I only cut 6 pounds. So when I went into the actual fight, I weighed in at 155. I stepped in the cage at 160, and for most of you guys that are pretty knowledgeable about MMA, like we cut, a lot more weight than that. My opponent had to be at least 175 to 180 pounds. So the weight difference was there. So we definitely had to make the change, make the adjustments, and I feel like I'm healthy enough to do that.
Does it feel like, again, to you, featherweight is going to be your home? This is going to be your weight class, your sweet spot?
I hope so. I mean, that's the plan, right? That's the plan. I mean, I can't tell you what's next. I can tell you what's going to happen right now. And at 145, it's Chase Hooper.
Chase Hooper on October 29th. What's with getting these tall guys? We used to think of Steve Garcia as this giant when you were at Bantamweight, and now it seems like ever since that move, you went from fighting guys way shorter than you to guys taller than you.
It's definitely been an adjustment. You can talk to Sean Shelby because I don't know. They sent him my way, and I was like, okay, I just signed the dotted line, and we'll fight. So I really can't tell you about that, but definitely someone under 6 foot would probably be cool. I wouldn't hate on that. So for next time.
And at least a lot less travel this time, just going to Las Vegas. Is that a relief in of itself after the experience, all the positives and negatives?
100%. I would rather fight in the States. people, like, just gotta know, like, America is great. I promise you, stay here. It's just way better. I mean, I'm being obviously biased. I'm an American, but yeah, I love this place. You know what I mean? I'm literally an hour and a half away from home, and a flight, and I get to be home with my family like that next day. So, and it's not a 26-hour flight from here to wherever. So I'd rather fight here and home.
Chase Hooper, the opponent, known as the ground guy, his jiu-jitsu base. He's been looking to consistently improve his wrestling and his striking. Is this the kind of fight where you say, hey, we know where his base is, we know where my base is, I'm going to keep it right away where we know I'm stronger?
This is just a style matchup. You know what I mean? It's just grappler versus striker. I do feel like, my grappling and my wrestling have also improved. If I need to use it, then I'll use it. But to be honest, like, it doesn't really matter. Wherever the fight goes, I'll be ready.
Well, having the ability to use it, does it feel like you're thinking of using it in reverse, more shutting down what he's doing to be able to back out, or just more anti-wrestle than give him the positions that he'd rather play in?
I think the writing's on the wall. I mean, you want to keep it where your strengths are. I think for him, he wants to get to the ground, and for me, I'd love to keep it on my feet. So his goal is to take me down. My goal is to keep it on the feet. That's what we're going to see. Who's going to do their job on that night? So that's I don't think there's much more than that.
And have you thought about that middle ground when he tries to tie you up when you're there in the clinch? Will there be a lot of openings, you think, for knees and elbows possibly, for you to create damage while he's trying to get in close?
You'll never know until you're in there. I mean, sometimes, like, I've, watching his previous fights, he likes to take the back. You know what I mean? You just got to kind of prevent that. You got to make sure, you're slippery in there. You're not, like, tying yourself to that position, wasting time, losing a fight against the cage. I've had that happen in my career. And obviously the goal is to figure out, how to escape and make him pay for every move that he's done. And, at the end of the day, get back to where I needed to be to win this fight.
Before we get to fight night, still talking about the fight though, Chase, does it feel like there's any personality parallels between the two of you, where not the most bloodthirstiest, trash-talkingest guys out here, not really aggravating it? It's a matchup. You guys both know you're going to fight each other, but it's not escalating that to that wild level.
It's cool because, like, I feel like there are some similarities. Like, I'm a pretty, like, reserved guy, pretty chill. I feel like he's kind of the same way. He's like a really, really younger version of maybe someone who I used to be back in the day. I really like the kid. He's honestly going to be a super badass, in the next couple of years. He's only 23 years old, but not right now. Right now, it's my time, and that's what I got to prove to everybody else and to myself. And I think that he's going to be on the wrong end of things, but you know what? He has a very bright future, and I still wish him the best.
Time is also a concept I wanted to bring up with you real quick. Talked about it. 5 grueling months between Damir Hazic and then Machete, the back-to-back training camps. Were you able, between that time and now, get enough rest time in there just to get over the gruelingness of such a long experience?
Not what I like. After, what a lot of people don't know is I went to that fight with a fractured collarbone, so I got enough time so that would heal and I could rehab. I kind of wanted just a little bit more time, but it was okay. Like, I was ready to get back in there. I want to almost right this wrong, if that makes sense. Like, I want to make sure that, like, I can get back in there, get back in the win column, and make sure that, like, my head's on straight and my career is where it needs to be.
On the list of how much it sucks, where does that collarbone injury stack up to the ones that you've had throughout your martial arts career?
It definitely prevents you from throwing the things you like to throw, especially with your, if you like to throw a lot of jabs or whatever the case is, it's a lot harder. Hiking up someone, that shoots on a single leg or a double leg on you and you're trying to lift them up, it definitely prevents you from really, really getting that, like, extra strength that you need. There's just a lot of things that, like, you deal with. Obviously, we're all fighters. We all deal with certain injuries, and that was just one of them that I faced. And, I thought I could go in there and still, manage to win. And at the end of the day, I lost. So it is what it is. And that was then, now is now, and we're going to go forward and we're going to win.
It's a new camp, a new opponent, and it's amazing for MMA fighters. How is it to mentally get over that loss? You put the weeks in, and how is it that you're able to get back and you turn the mindset into the positivity that we're seeing out of you, turning it back into getting the next job ahead of you done?
It's like I said, like you have two options. You can move forward, try to figure out what went wrong, how to recover, how to do better, or you can just sit there and mope. And I'm not saying you never do that. I probably had about 2 weeks of just like sleepless nights, just like thinking about it every single night, waking up in the middle of the night. Like it doesn't matter. Like you're just thinking about it. And then obviously fans that are really, they don't know, they don't make it any easier or whatever the case is. And that's just part of the sport, you know what I mean? But at some point, you just put your foot down and you're just like, all right, we're going to move on from this. We're going to get better. And you know what? We're going to be back in the gym, get back to the lab and make sure that like we're working on the things that we need to work on from the get-go, but two that we can fix from the last fight that we experienced, and just so it doesn't happen again.
Going into this one, do you have an expectation? Do you see a finish materializing? Are you putting a premium on one?
I always put a premium on it, but win, just at all costs, by any means necessary. That's what it comes down to. So if it's a decision, it's a decision. But if anybody has ever followed my career, you know I can't stand decisions. You never know what you're going to get. So I like to be for sure on what I'm getting, and I've always looked for the finish. And so don't be surprised if you see one.
It's been a hard camp, but I'm sure you take some time with the family. And out here recently, we had a New Mexico tradition, the International Balloon Fiesta. So from the dad side, what's that like taking the little ones out there?
It was honestly very cool. It kind of sucked because like this year the weather was like not very cooperative, but we went to the country concert on one of the nights and we saw that, and then we walked around. You know, my family got good food. I had to watch them eat it. But my son especially loved all the balloons, and he saw I think it was the skydivers and some of the things before it started raining again. So it was a good experience. You know, hopefully next year I won't have a fight and I can enjoy the food with them. So that's probably the only thing that kind of sucked about it. But other than that, like anytime I'm with my family, spending time and stuff like that, like those are memories that you can't take away from me. So I was happy to be there.
So it's those good little reprieves from the fight camp?
Yeah. Good vibes.
Awesome, Steve. As always, thank you for the time.
For sure, brother. Thank you.